All right, we'll start this soon enough. I did change, assuming everybody can hear, I did change the settings so that if you're not a subscriber, you can't comment. Why would I do that? Well, it's free to subscribe and it helps out the channel. And I'm about 30 subscribers away from the 1500 mark, so I'm trying to push for that a little bit. This is not what was advertised. I had a big, epic battle set up, completely set up. I filmed about an hour of it. Um, Yet to post it, and I don't know that I will. Primarily because there were a number of little issues that kept cropping up and interrupting the flow of play, such that things needed to be ironed out, and I think I've done that. Now, having said that, playing live is a whole different ball game. I probably should have done another round before going live, but whatever. Let's throw caution to the wind and see what happens. We're talking about looking at this, which is the tentative cover for something that will probably never be published. I guarantee it'll never be published. Will be posted at some point. I've talked about this before. Essentially the same thing, a few minor modifications. And we'll go over those as we run through this. These are the glorious, heartbreakingly painful, painted 28 millimeters, probably about a half of what I have. I haven't busted them out in a while. I thought it was high time to do so. The Callistra Hexon terrain system that I typically use is just a bit too small for 28 mil. It's 4-inch hexes, and you really need anywhere from, ideally it'd be about 8-inch hexes. 6-inch I think would work, but what you really need is 6. So I chucked those, and then I thought, well, what would I use for terrain? And I guess the more I thought about it, the minimalist, basic, austere tabletop setup is kind of the look I've gone for. So there's that. The scenario that we have sussed out is a Rollica scenario from 1808, French versus British. And this should be a lot of fun as I stumble about with no hexes. My training wheels have been removed. All right, so first off, how do you play this? How do you set it up? What's going on? What in the hey-hoo? Where do we begin? So set up, and we'll run through the rules for the first part, and then we'll get into some more game flow. You'll set up according to a basic commands and color scenario, any number of those to choose from or use. Welcome, Max Tabletop. How you doing, buddy? If the cards are not used, let me rephrase that. Since you're not using the cards that you typically would for commands and colors, that in turn negates the boundaries for left, center, and right. None of that matters. You will also ignore where it states who moves first in the scenario. And other things to bear in mind, we do not use the battle back rule, which is typically automatic in the core game rules. That is because you have to pass an activation check to do anything. And it has to be your quote-unquote turn. Now, there's no turns or rounds in the core game of Commands and Colors, but we do kind of have that with this. And we have a number of markers that will be helpful and aid gameplay. Those consisting of, let's see, aid to comp markers, as I'm currently calling them these days, spent markers, shaken markers, broken markers, and your blue and red activation shits. I just couldn't leave them well enough alone. I love chit draw. I worked it back in. There you go. So we do have something tantamount to rounds in this. A single round consists of both sides taking turns, drawing chits, and activating or failing to activate units, or in fact, passing. Once all the chits have been drawn and that has been done, that marks the end of a round. You reseed the chits in the cup and go again. The aide de camps that I mentioned are these little chits that I stole from Gross Deutschland game. That allows, well, let's just read the rules here that I have written. Each leader has one aide de camp that can be used to modify the results of an activation check, recover attempt, which is essentially a rally, or combat result. The unit must be within 6 hexes of a leader to use an aide de camp. That's fairly liberal, so there shouldn't be an issue. A single unit may use multiple aide de camps if within range of leaders that have them available. So if I have this unit that, for whatever reason, needs as many ADCs as possible, if they're in range of both of these guys, I could use both of their ADCs. Single blah, blah, blah. Declare intent to use an ADC before rolling. You can't roll the dice, see the result, and then decide, oh, I would like to use an aide de camp to boost that or lower it. All right, so the initiative chits for conventional scenarios, you're looking at the where it says command card. So for the British, we have 6 command cards. For the French, 5 command cards. Read that as chits. So what we have in here is 6 British chits and 5 French chits. That pretty much explains that. For epic scenarios, you're going to do a bit differently. You will add the an equal number of chits that coincide to the number of command cards and tactician cards for each side. And then your activation checks, which I've already spoken upon briefly. We'll get more into those as we play along. We do have facing in here. Keep track of artillery ammunition. There's a couple of tweaks to forming square, cavalry, retire and reform. Your flags and leader retreat, blah, blah, blah. We do have combined arms in here. And then your shaken and broken we'll get into as it happens. Recovery. And then the extremely completely optional, I don't think we'll look at today, but I do incorporate formations in so much as column and line, limber, unlimber, cavalry mass charge. And that's it, essentially. So let's go ahead and draw a chit and see what happens. I don't know what the pace of this will be like. Probably, most likely, slow to start. We have the British going first. And to do so, we will find a unit. No, I'm going to have to be going back and forth here with this table. All right. Which means I may need something like this. A hex is going to translate to 6 inches as mentioned, so I'll have to do some math here. And first unit, what are the victory conditions here? That's probably important. First 1 to 5, so this should be short. And no terrain or territorial objectives. Nobody needs to exit off the board or come onto the board, so it's just straight up casualties that we're looking for. So who do we want to activate first is the question. What do they want to do? What's going on? I also need to bear in mind that Portuguese units are in effect for this scenario, and I've neglected to do that. Ill prepared. And that would consist of these 3 infantry units on the left, or the Anglo-Allied right, and the light cavalry there. That's Portuguese. All right, so I don't know why, but I'm leaning towards this Anglo-Allied left here. I'm going to roll, what was that, line? That's just 1 and battle. Well, let's move up 1 to do so. We would need greater than a 1 on our weighted die. If you're using a regular 10-sided die, you would want to roll greater than 2. I'm using the weighted die, so the weighted die is from Conflict of Heroes. So we need greater than a 1 to activate them, and we did so. We'll move them up 1, which puts them about, let's go right here. Right here. Now we'll mark them as spent. I've been calling it. You could call it used. Markers from Old School Tactical are working for that. Why are we marking them? Because you can't activate them again until the next round. That's why. Now we don't have anything in range to fire at, so they're done. We draw another chit. And we get the French here. Let's see if the French can. We don't have enough range to fire artillery. Would be close. Let's move these guys up, or attempt to at least. And that's going to be 1, because that's just line as well. And that's also going to be, or is it? Now the French only have 2 leaders to the Anglo-Allied's 1, 2, 3, 4 leaders. So it'll be a bit more of a wrangle to activate units, as they won't all be within such close proximity to a leader. So what are we talking about here? We are 3. Good Lord, really? See, here's the issue. We're 4, let's call them hexes. Remember, each hex is 6 inches. We're up to 4 hexes away. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we would need to roll higher than a 4 on the weighted die, or higher than a 6 on a D10. We could use, which I think I will, an ADC. We'll flip that 1 to a 0 to show that we used it. That gives us a +1 to the die roll. So here we go. We need greater than a 4, and we didn't make it. We rolled 1. So what happens when you fail an activation? Anybody remember? You still mark them as used, even though they did nothing. Well, that's the break. Breaks. That's how it goes. Draw another chit. Anglo-Allied again, who don't seem to have any issues with activating anyone. Let's go ahead and activate the adjacent unit, send him up. That's going to be on our weighted die greater than a 1. No problem. Push him up. And there's that. Leaders don't need to roll to activate, but you do need to spend a chit to do so. So instead of activating a unit, you'll have to make that hard decision. Do I activate a leader that needs to move, or a unit? Mark them as used. Draw another chit. Starting to flow a bit more here. Welcome, math for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have invisible hexes I'm using. Yeah. The antithesis to this channel's name, Hexes and Soldiers. It's just soldiers right now. That is a French chit I drew again. Let's try and activate these guys. It should be easier because all we need now is greater than a 2. Certainly we can roll greater than a 2, and we can with a 7. And all that's going to do is allow us to move up 1 hex here. I have these guys in these Risk. You know the Risk pieces from the Risk games? They come in these little plastic bins. I use the lids from them, turn them upside down as movement trays for the French. So that's what's going on there. So back and forth we go. It's the British again. And I'm going to waste the activation shit on him and just move him up right here. I don't want him to hang back too far here. That's going to affect your ability to activate units in the future. Another chit. I'd say a good 70 to 75% of these rules are still straight up commands and colors. Okay, maybe 60, 65. And that consists of all your combat rules and all that stuff. All right, British get another go. Clever lads. Pull them up. That's going to be greater than a 1 on our weighted die, greater than a 2 on a normal D10. Again, no problem for them. So at this point, the British have had 4 activations to the French's 2. Again, that has to deal with, they do have 1 more activation shit in the draw cup due to the number of command cards that equates to. Thinking this will be a French chit, and I would be right. There, this is that a light unit? It is, okay. So the infantry units that do not have a standard or banner or flag or whatever you want to call it, those are light infantry. I've always done it that way to keep track of what that is. This guy should be able to activate, for God's sakes. It's only going to be greater than a 1, and he failed. Rolled a 1. That's a ripoff. You might be asking yourself or thinking, why would a unit not do what it is told? Well, again, you got to use your imagination here. It could be that the order was delayed, causing them to seem like they're not doing anything. There could be confusion regarding the order. The unit could be hesitant for any number of reasons. So that's what we're looking at. I think I just drew another British chit. I've been jaw jogging too much to keep track of what's really going on here. Let's try and move them up. It's going to be greater than a 1. Should be no problem. So again, you'll notice that these activation rolls for the British are pretty gravy, and that is because of the number of leaders and proximity of the leaders. Was he attached? 1, 2. He was attached. So if the leader's attached to a unit, he just moves with them. I have him touch to represent that. Mark him as used. I haven't had these guys. I think I need to get like a can of duster and air them off. They're just full of dust. It's been so long. 3 chits left for the first round. British again, who have, I don't think they've failed an activation check yet. This guy, yep, greater than a 1 is all he needs. Anybody that's not a subscriber and wishes to comment, please subscribe. Or just subscribe anyway. Why wouldn't you? Help a guy out. They passed, of course, because that's what they do. Just barely, but they passed. I need a stick. I need a stick. See how easy it is to move all those buggers. What's that? What's left? 2 chits. They're both French. So the final 2 of this round will be French attempts to activate. Let's go here. That will be greater than a 1. And yes, they did activate. Don't think they are. No, they're not in range of anything there. And the final shit of this round, of course, French. And that would be. He is not attached to anybody, correct? He was not. I don't know if I need to move him. Let's go ahead and pull this guy up. Greater than 1. Yes. Pull him up. Not a whole lot going on right now. Nobody's within range of anyone, so maybe seem a bit anticlimactic at the moment. So there's our first quote unquote round, right? We've run through our shits here. This is what we're looking at. When that is the case, we just pull our used or spent markers off, reseed the cup, and go again. Pretty straightforward, redundant stuff here. All right, so reseed the cup. The elimination of a unit does not affect the chits in the cup. I'd messed with that a bit, subtracting 1 chit for each unit eliminated. It's just doesn't quite work like it's supposed to, so I stopped that. The British go first. Big surprise there. Let's continue. No, it's not. So let's go over here, and that's going to be greater than a 2, I believe. There still should be not much of an issue, because that's further than 1 hex, so yeah, greater than a 2. Let's see if we can get greater than a 2. That's our Portuguese. Doesn't really affect anything yet. That's Portuguese light infantry. Of course they get it. Now they can move. Portuguese light infantry can move up to 2 and not battle. And I should add also that a single action is what you can conduct when you activate. A single action being anything you could typically do in commands and colors. So a move and then battle, or a move and range fire, a move and battle and take ground. This is all 1 action. So if you'll notice, I adhere to the facing requirements. What's next? Draw another chit. Typically they'd be able to fire, but since they did a 2 hex move, they can't do anything else. That's our Portuguese light. British again. This time, let's go with him, but he's going to have to be rolling greater than a 3, and that is a Portuguese line unit. Something like that. So I need to roll. The back and forth thing with this table is slightly annoying. It's just so big, which is, I guess, a good problem to have, but we're rolling greater than a 3. It's cocked between the 1 and the 4. Now it's a 4. All right, so they passed that. The windmill is actually a time machine. From which to observe this historical battle. Somebody will be firing soon, I promise. Oh, we have British again. That's 3 in a row here for the British. Let's pull the other unit up. He is within 2, so he can easily should easily be able to do this. So we roll greater than a 2. On our weighted die, we've got, what do we get? We get a 5. So he moves up on that is Portuguese line as well. Pivot just a hair. There you go. So far, so good, huh? Been all British now. Then the French get a go. So what do we have? We have, are these guys not within range? These guys are, but their facing might be a bit off. No, they got it. Okay, so let's roll to activate them to fire. That is a French line unit. And he's going to be needing greater than a 1. Oh, reset your aid to comps too if you use any of those at the end of the round. Yes, he passed that. That is also going to be, now here's some more fun stuff. Trust me, on the standing range flyer is 4 dice for these fellers. I'll leave this here so you know what I'm firing at. Now here's the fun part that I've added. This is your shaken die that you add to your 4 dice that you typically roll. See what we get. We're looking for 1s and 2s. We got a 1, we got a 5 as a flag. 4 and a 6 doesn't do us any good. Now the shaken die is a 3. If that was equal to or less than the number of hits we had rolled, that unit would be shaken. It is not, so we disregard that. And it is simply 1 hit and a flag. Now, the flag cannot be ignored because they have no morale bolstering, nobody adjacent to them, no leaders. They're not anything special, so they will pull back 1 hex and take that 1 hit. Now, again, obviously, this retreat, you don't have to activate or pass anything to retreat. It's automatic. But I don't recall if I have them now. So if this unit were fresh and had to retreat, I can't remember if I decided that they would become used afterwards, because that is essentially a move and it would enhance the effects of retreating. Well, I guess we'll worry about that when we come to it. Okay, so there's opening shot there. French again. I would like to move this light infantry unit way up, and I'm going to need greater than a 1 to do so. I rolled a 2. I'll take it. And he can do just that. We'll put him right up there. I kind of like the look of this flat wood, scrubby color terrain. All right, and then that was 2, right? He won't be able to fire because he did that double move, but he's in a good position for future endeavors. British again. Those guys are used, so they won't be firing. Let's head to the back. This unit to the left of what's supposed to be Wellington, who's actually, well, it is Wellington. I'll be darned. I just happened to, what a coincidence. Oh, Wellesley at this point, he wasn't Wellington yet. They're going to need greater than a 1. They did not get it. A rare flub by the British, so they stay there this round. These are, what minis am I using? These are Warlord Games. Guys, I think I have the boxes. So for instance, stuff like this from the Warlord Games site. plastic come on sprues. You have to glue them together and paint them, and it's a whole nother story. I can't remember if I drew. Yeah, okay. French. Who do we want? We want these guys. Let's move this light infantry up here. That's going to be right to the middle of the table there. Then that'll be greater than a 1 to do so. Roll a 2 so he gets away with it. Won't be able to fire because it did that double move. Mark him. Oh, shit. British. Who do we want? Need, care to activate? Let's activate these guys to fire. That'll be greater than a 1 to do so. They failed. So it might seem superfluous or tedious to do these activation rolls, but when you're playing solo, especially, it adds to the flavor of what you're doing. Is probably the whole point of doing this. Because at what point would you decide, oh, he's not going to be able to fire? You never would. All right. It makes it more interesting, mixes it up. French. Are we still too far away here? Yes. I'm going to try to move the artillery up. They're not doing us any good there. And I say that, but for God's sakes, he's also three hexes away. I'm going for it. I'm going to use an ADC. I need higher than a 3 for this. I'm going to add 1 to the roll. Thank God I did, because now it's a 4. And he can move up. Move up just enough to bump that out of the way there. There we go. Mark him as used. I had to make one minor adjustment to the scenario. That infantry unit to the right of Wellesley is supposed to be artillery. Well, I don't have any more artillery to represent that. So I stuck an infantry unit there. And that's how it goes. That is used. 2 chits left, 1 French, 1 British. Who's it going to be? Looks like it's the French. I want them to move forward, please. No, actually, I take that back. I need to move this leader. I just can't continue to be hurting myself like that. So that's how we'll spend that. And last one, of course, is the British. We should be able to fire here. Yes, we can. If we activate. To activate, we would need greater than a 1. Nope. Greater than a 2. Greater than a 2, we'll use an ADC here for a +1. Let's roll greater than a 2 with a +1. We get a 1. +1 is a 2, so they still couldn't do it. How about that? Could not activate, cannot fire. That's the end of what we would call round 2. Oh, and welcome Pelly1337, by the way. Again, anybody watching or wishes to comment, please subscribe to do so. And or just subscribe anyway because you're nice. It's the right thing to do. About 30 subscribers short of that 1,500 mark. So I'm trying to push that last little bit over the hump. This marks video number 499 of the Hexes and Soldiers channel. So there's that as well. Not every single video is a bona fide hour-long video. There's a lot of short junk videos, but still 499 videos. All right, there we go. Round 3. Everybody reset. Looks like some things are slowly starting to happen here. The cat is not entertained at all. Let me see if we can do this without wrecking everything I believe in. There she is, hanging off of her cat tree. And contrary to popular belief, she is not interested. She's just hanging there because she's bored. That's what she does when she's bored. All right, here we go again. Round 3. French, open up round 3. And let's do that by firing with this light infantry unit. You're going to mark these guys used whether they pass or fail. That's how it works. And to pass, that's going to be greater than a 2. I'm going to use an ADC because I really want this to work. So greater than a 2 plus 1. And again, thank God I did. So that passes. Okay. And light infantry, standing range fire. Is 5 dice plus our shaken die, our innovative shaken die. Maybe we can get a shaken marker. I think we got something here. We've got 2 hits, a flag, and our shaken die is a 1. So 1 is equal or less than our 2 hits. So here's our first shaken unit. We'll use this to represent that. He takes 2 hits. Where is the 2 at, for God's sakes? Right there. And the retreat, I think he has to retreat. He doesn't have anything to prevent him from doing so. And here's where, yeah, he's got to come back here. Here's where he may become used for doing so. Oh, he already had a 1, so now that's a 3. My bad. Back you go. Like that. Okay. Does he, let me check the rules the way I have it and see if he is shaken for retreating. I don't see it. I don't know that I have that, but I'll tell you what. I think that's worth considering. A fresh unit that retreats. I said shaken. A fresh unit that retreats is spent. So let's mark him as used. I think that makes a lot of sense to me. There we go. So he is shaken, used, and has 1 strength point left. 1 block, 1 stand, however you put it. Let me verify that. You know what? I take that back because Portuguese light infantry, their strength is 3 to begin with. So he's done. There's our first casualty. I thought he was a 4 strength, but he's not. So all of that was for nothing. He is gone. First casualty, and as such, our first victory banner for the French. Let's mark that. We're playing to 5 victory banners. So good firing by the French light infantry there. Let's draw another chit, shall we? That was only our first chit. British reply. I think I know what they want to do, if they can. They've got quite a ways to go from a leader here. That might even be 4. No, we'll call it 3 still. I'm going to have to roll greater than a 3 here. Let's use an ADC. Each leader offers 1 ADC each round. So if we can roll greater than a 3 plus 1, and we can. So that's good. Mark him as used. That's Portuguese line that will be firing, and they will fire with 4 dice. And the shaken die. 1 hit and a flag. Otherwise, nothing else going. The shaken die is not equal or less than the 1 hit. So it's just the 1 hit and a pullback of 1 move. He's already spent, so he doesn't become spent. I think I make this harder than it needs to be. There he goes, right back there. One die. Used. Okay. Next. French, pretty much everything, infantry, regardless of what it is, and cavalry is all 4 strength. So we have the British again. Let's just go ahead and do what we know we're going to do anyway. Fire here. If we roll greater than a 1, he failed last time, got it this time. That is British line infantry, fairly adept at the firing, so they'll roll 5 dice. Fresh unit, no hits. 5 dice. We want 1s or 2s. And we have 1 hit. Shaken die is a 5, so that is no effect. No hit, no hit. So 1 hit and a retreat. Let's mark the 1 hit. Let's put that in there. And 1 retreat. Okay. Put them back there. Mexican. And he is, because I've already stated this, would be used then, right? Because he had to retreat. Okay. British again. I don't think we have anybody to fire at this point. So we're going to have to do some movement. Let's move back here to the right of Wellington. Wellesley. Greater than a 1? Yes. That is light infantry, I believe. No, it would be line. Technically, it's supposed to be artillery. So he'll move up 1. Something like that. The used marker would help. I think I could remember that. Used marker. Yeah, not much by way of terrain here. Now in this scenario, there are woods and hills, but how to represent them, couldn't decide, so left them out. French cavalry's been awful quiet, hasn't it? We've got these guys lagging behind. Greater than a 3, and they can do a thing. Nope. Roll a 3, can't do a thing. So they're marked as used. British. All this stuff hanging back here doing nothing. Greater than a 1. Can he do it? He can do it. Yes, he can. I don't believe Wellesley was attached, so he stays there. No, he wasn't. So he stays there. How about the British again? How about it? Let's pull this artillery up. Or attempt to. Excuse me. What is that going to be? A 3? Who's the closest leader? We've got one here. That will be a 3. It'll be a 4 otherwise. So greater than a 3. Let's use an ADC. Greater than a 3 plus 1. He's got it. Use marker, please. There's only one British ship left here. And is it British? Nope, it's French. What do you say we fire with some artillery? Excuse me, that is going to be a 3-hex range. But he needs to pass activation first. If he's can roll greater than a 2, we'll add 1 to that roll with an ADC. Greater than a 2, add 1. Yes, he's good. 3-hex range, French foot artillery, full strength. 3 dice and our disorder die, shaken die. So 3 dice, shaken die. Mark this as an ammo spent, so he'll go from 5 to 4 on that doodad. What do we got? Nothing, nothing, nothing. Whole lot of nothing on that. 2 French shits and a British shit left. Turns into French. Would really like to move this guy up, please. It's going to be 3, roll greater than a 3. Roll greater than a 3. Got it. And 2 chits left for round 3. 1 British, 1 French. French again. Let's move the center up right here. Roll greater than a 1. He can do it. Mark him as used. What else? Last shit, round 3, British. We'll fire here with, I think he's within 1. He is not. We're going from the center is what I'm doing. If he can roll greater than a 2, we'll suck an ADC up. So greater than a 2 plus 1. He's got that. And who is it? 5 dice because it's full strength British line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And our shaken die. Equal or less. So if the shaken die is equal or less than the number of hits, it is 1. And we have 1 hit. So what? So he takes the 1 hit. And he takes a shake. Right? Mark him as used. Well, that's the end anyway. What is the deal with shaking this? What is that all about? Let's talk about that for a second. If I can find it. Shaking unit cannot form square or change formation. If we were doing that. Shaken cavalry cannot charge or conduct melee. Shaken infantry or artillery that conduct fire or melee must reroll all hits. Well, this is what I have thus far. Subject to change. I might try to simplify this. Seems a little hodgepodgey. And a shaking unit that becomes shaken. Here's the main thing: a shaking unit that becomes shaken again becomes broken and can do nothing except try to recover. And as soon as it breaks, it has to route 2 hexes. So that's the main deal. I may simplify that such that shaking unit has movement and fire halved. That's just easier to remember and deal with. All right. That's the end of round 3. Shit's back in the cup. Remove all used markers. I'll say it again, the cavalry has been eerily quiet for both sides. Maybe we can fix that. Reset ADCs from 0 back to 1. One there. And one here. And one here. Oh, I forgot to eat. Stinking used marker. And there we go. All right. British lost 1 unit, which means the French have 1 victory banner. Round 4, let's check the time. Coming up just on an hour. Still have folks watching, so let's do another round, at least another round. We've had no cavalry action, so I'll try and fix that for you guys, I think. All right, British go first. Let's just go ahead and try and activate some cavalry. That light Portuguese cavalry unit, am I asking you? No. I'm stating that light Portuguese cavalry unit is going to move if they can roll greater than 1. A 7 works, and they can move up to 3 and still battle. Now, I don't think they're close enough to battle anybody, but 3 is a significant gallop. I don't know who we should aim for. Let's aim for that unit up here. So this is where they'll go. And this may be a stupid move, but I want to get them into action for you. Stupid move because these infantry units up here are they've taken no casualties. Well, he has, and they're not shaken. It's best to attack with cavalry against depleted units or shaken units or broken units. I think that's what you should do. That's not what I'm doing, but whatever. He's done. Very cool. Was he attached? I forget. Yes, he was. So he goes with him. That's going to affect some things for these guys, maybe. He was attached. Was he not? Yes, he was. Okay, so there's that. That's our opening move. Let me guess what the French are going to do. Be firing at some cavalry, I think, maybe. Start here. Greater than a 1, and that's what happens. Yep. 4 dice. Chicken die. We're going to want 3s. 5s are acceptable. Preferably 3s, though. We have 1 hit. Our disordered die is not less than that, equal or less than that hit. We have no 5, so it's just the one hit. Now they have an inherent strength of 3, so they're down to 2. Mark them as used and draw another chip. British again, let's move this other cavalry unit up. That is also, or is it? Heavy cavalry. No, I was wrong. Heavy cavalry, British. They're only going to move 2, assuming we pass. Try and go through this gap. Assuming we pass our activation, which is going to have to be greater than a 3, we'll use an ADC. So greater than a 3 plus 1. Greater than a 3 plus 1. Roll a 2, plus 1 is 3, so they failed. The other thing that I have neglected to do is use any ADCs to adjust combat rolls. Haven't had to really try and rally anybody yet. So they're stuck, they stay there. Next. British again. Enough with the British. Enough. Let's fire here, which will be, no, it's not. Let's fire here. And greater than a 1. Yes. 5 dice. Shake and die. All right, here we go. 2 hits, flag, not shaken. So now they're down to 3. I think they are, I'm going to say they are bolstered by these 2 units, so they're not going to retreat after all. If he would have become shaken again, he would have become broken because he's already shaken. But that's not the case here. So, not bad though. If it's a French again, I'll try and attempt to recover and show you how that works. It's not the French again. The British, we'll try and fire there. That's going to be greater than a 2. I'll suck up an ADC, so greater than a 2 plus 1. He got it anyway with a 7. This unit, I have a feeling, is done because he only has 1 strength point left. He's got another 5 dice coming at him. And there he went. Okay. So now each side has 1 victory banner. Just like that. All gone. Gravity is strong with this one. Okay. Next. No way it's British. It is British. It's been all British. I think the French have gone once. Still not within range. Or are we? Call that? No, that's not going. So let's try and move up. Let's actually try and move him up here, which will be greater than a 2 plus 1 with an ADC. Greater than a 2 plus 1. Well, he rolled a 1, so plus 1 is 2. He failed. So he stays. So there's 4 French chits left in here and 1 British chit. What are the chances I pull a British chit? Not good. I pull a French. So I was going to demonstrate how to recover, but that unit has been eliminated. So I won't be showing you that. Let's fire with the artillery again. How about that? That'll be 3 hex range if we can roll greater than a 2 plus 1. Greater than a 2, yes. 3 hex range. Is that 3? Yeah. 2 dice. Shake and die. Oh, 1 hit. I'll take it. Mark that down to a 3. What happens when you run out of ammunition for artillery? At that point, you can only fire at the shortest range with 1 die. That's what happens. 3 French shits and a British. French. I'm going to try and shore up this guy here. It's going to have to be greater than a 3. I don't feel good about this. No, rolled a 7. Got it. All right. Now he can move in battle, right? Which is what I shall do. There's our move. That's going to be moving ranged fire. French line unit, moving ranged fire is 2 dice. And our wily shaken die. Got a flag that can be ignored. And no hits. Okay. 3 chits left. French. Didn't he fire? So why is he not marked? Because I forgot. French. Let's pull this light infantry forward. Greater than 1. Greater than 1. Rolls the wrong die. Greater than 1. No. Of course not. He rolls a 1. It's the problem with his weighted die, and that's why it's weighted. The number of 1s on this 10-sided die, there's 2 of them. And 2 3s, 2 5s. That's why they call it a weighted die. Comes from the Conflict of Heroes game. 2 dice, 2 chits left. French again. Maybe I should try and swing this cavalry around. Light cavalry is 3 moves, yes? Yeah. If I swing them around, that'll put me about... Here, I'm going to have to do it. Well, let's roll to see if they can activate first. That's going to be greater than a 1. He gets it, so there's 1 move. 2 moves. I'm trying to swing around to face or attack this other cavalry unit here. So if I do this strategically, I can slam into the side of them, right? Light cavalry, I've got lancers representing this light cavalry. They're not specifically lancers according to the scenario, but this is what I put on the table. That's the best we're going to get. Blocking the fire of that unit, but hopefully that is to our advantage in doing so. Artem is used. Or not, because we've also put the cavalry and flank, exposed our cavalry flank to that infantry. Last shit, British. And guess what they're going to do? It's just that. Fire at that cavalry if they can activate. Now they're fairly far away from closest leader. It's going to be a 3, I think. Yeah, that'll be a 3 plus 1 to fire. So greater than a 3. Yep, we got it. All right, he's going to fire. That's Portuguese line. It is 4 dice. Shaken die. What do we get? No hits. Really? No hits. That's how it goes. All right, that's the end of round 4. Pull the used chits back. This one way smoother than I thought it would. Really smooth. And I really like the way this plays. Very fond of what I've come up with here. What do you guys think of all this? Everybody back to normal? That's 4 rounds. That's it's been an hour now, over an hour. I may just cut you all loose. Put these back in the bowl. Haven't really needed that. Yeah, I think I'll cut this where it's at. Keep it watch time watchable. So we'll give it another minute or so. If anybody has anything to add, any questions, any comments. It's worked out quite nice, at least for a 28 mil. So to represent, I've got shaken, and then to represent broken, just put them on top of a red poker chip. So there you go with that. And that's one of the more fun aspects for me, is coming up with what to use to represent certain things and situations. All right, that's it. Do appreciate everybody watching. This went pretty well. I may stream again tonight. If not, definitely tomorrow. So check back this evening, because I think I may stream again. This went pretty well. All right, guys, that's all I got for now, though. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk soon.